Sonic Geno, it is 5 minutes to the start time, but I can't wait. I think we're ready. Are you ready?
Hell yeah, man. I'm ready. It's just an amazing. I'm just excited, man. Impact is just the most exciting promotion right now, 2023.
Geno is hard to kill. Like, you're going to hard to kill. You're moments away. Like, I know that by moments, I mean like 72 hours. You're a few days away. You're a few sleeps away from going to hard to kill. I checked the numbers, Geno. It might be official. Welcome to the Wrestling Journalist, ladies and gentlemen. If you're listening, my name is Ryan Van Vliet. Vleeties, one half of the whole fucking show, tomorrow night live, Trovo.live/TWFS. He's Sonic Geno. We might be the new official or unofficial podcast of Impact Wrestling. Like, because I did the numbers, Geno. Like, that episode, like, how is Impact Wrestling Not Dead from a few weeks ago is just outpacing every other thing I've ever done in my career for some reason. Now, I know that it's Impact Wrestling from, like, a depressing standpoint. Like, how is it even alive? It sucks. But also on the flip side of that, I think is it because there's just an oversaturation of WWE and AEW? Is there like 2,000 people that are just desperate for Impact Wrestling? Like, I found all the Impact people.
It might be just that, like, we all know how good Impact used to be, and we still have that heart, that soul, that still gets to us, that reminds us, like, this is Impact, this is TNA, this is why we wanted to cross the line, and that this promotion, we need to still go through the trenches sometimes because we love this business that Impact created.
Yeah, that's probably a good way to put it. Thank you so much for an AEW guy for dropping some Deannas on us, because another person who, like, we used to sing the praises of. Deonna Purrazzo was like our diva of the year. She was our superstar of the year. She had our match of the year. So much stuff. Like, I was like, dude, I was a huge fan of all this Impact. And, dude, like, what happened to her, number one. But also, when you watch Impact, she still is kind of put in, like, a high level. So maybe because I became more of a casual, me and GOC are casuals when it comes to Impact Wrestling. Like, I have put it in my back burner. It's in the back of my mind. I haven't really been following it super closely. I just watched this previous Impact Wrestling, and I think she's still one of the biggest stars. They portray her in such a way that they just portray her like she is such a big deal. And I know it's Impact Wrestling. Like, the main event was Cardona versus
Malachi
Chris
Black
Sabin.
says Vleeties looking so handsome.
Oh, thank you so much. This is a haircut. This is a map stash. Geno, I'm really upping my game. I almost wore a flannel just to kind of, I thought you were going to wear yours, but you're not. You're wearing a CM Punk shirt. He was referenced on Impact Wrestling. Do you still pretend to like CM Punk? You know you don't.
And I will always love CM Punk as a professional wrestler. The indie times of CM Punk and knowing the person he is, like, I will always have
the person
part
he is
in my heart with CM Punk. Yes, I like the asshole that he is because he's like a real person. He's just a real dude, and he doesn't mind telling you the truth. And also, he's part of the reason why Impact is the way it is. The gathering matters.
No, he's not part of why it's good. Like, he was never part of this version of Impact. He was just on the way up. He was the Ring of Honor. I have a part-time job.
Put that shit on. Put that shit on.
And what do you mean you like the person? He's just a douchebag for douchebag's sake. I've said this multiple.
Put that shit on.
Ricardio has not been in the chat for a while, and he just cast a million. B2's a subscriber.
Put that shit on.
It better not play that 7 more times. Ricardio just cast a bunch of these hydrates.
Put that shit on. Put that shit on.
Good on Ricardo wanting to make sure we're all hydrated and ready for our discussion of Impact Wrestling.
How do you turn them off? Thank you, Ricardio. Thank you so much. Like, I'm just we gotta get rid of these sound alerts, Geno.
Put that shit on.
They're just in the way of me talking to you about Impact Wrestling. Because Impact Wrestling, like you were saying, probably the most important thing in our lives.
Put that shit on.
And, so what do you mean CM Punk is a part of this? CM Punk's not a part of this. He thinks that we're running Impact Wrestling.
Put that shit on.
He thinks that we're running Impact Wrestling outside of a warehouse in Reseda.
That might be what he would say now, but
Put that shit on.
if it wasn't for CM Punk, we would not have Mickie James.
Yeah, I did see her little tribute video, like, oh, I was a top guy. Like, no, you weren't. CM Punk was not a top guy in Impact during that time as a tag team with Julio De Niro, whatever that fucking guy's name was. So let's not kid ourselves. So, Gino, it has been. There's something on my face. What is on my face on that screen? Transition. Fixed it, Gino. I don't know what that was. It was on my face, though. I saw it. No, CM Punk's the worst. You just like him because he's like the hipster person to like now. Now that we've all turned on him, you suddenly like CM Punk again. He always sucked. He looks like a U.S. champion, but says he could talk a little bit better. Oh, my God, we love it. Oh, he's so edgy. Like, no, he's not. He's fucking ice cream bars. He sucks dick. So he's John Cena. He always pretends that he wasn't John Cena, but here he comes to AEW, and he's the John Cena of AEW, and he doesn't even care. Barry Darby Allin, Barry Lee Moriarty, MJF. Bury them all, Hangman Page. Thank you, Nathan Weller, for gifting a sub to JT. Much appreciated, my friend. So, Gino, I did watch Impact Wrestling. I looked at the numbers, and like I said, we're the unofficial official podcast of Impact. Look, Scott D'Amore has tweeted at me before, okay? He has tweeted at me. He made sure that Impact unblocked me. I got my sub goal, Gino. Thank you, TK91. So a lot has happened between me and Impact Wrestling. I think it's just official that I just embrace it, that I am... This company and I are meant to be together forever. Because I tried to watch Hulu Raw today and just couldn't even stomach it. I don't think I've watched a whole Hulu Raw in like 4 weeks. Like it's so hard to watch. And everybody's upset about Vince McMahon coming back. It's like, is it going to be worse? The show sucks anyway. Why are we all pretending that the show's been so fantastic without Vince? Like, we watched it for 30 years with Vince, and now he's been gone for 6 months. And none of us are like watching it any more or any less than we were. So who gives a fuck? So, okay, but either way, Gino, I'm just saying Impact Wrestling is more... And CK in the chat, he does bring up a good point. Like, hey, Steph left the company. Did you hear about this, Gino? I got some... The hot goss was all the talks today. Did you hear about this?
I did hear about Stephanie stepping down. Now it's just Nick Khan in charge while Triple H is still in control of the... what's called, like, not creative, but some other like specific.
Yeah, he's like the chief content officer. He's like the CCO. This is WWE. So even like in the real business world, like the corporate world, we still got to make up like a gimmick name for his position. Less than a week after Vince McMahon came out of retirement and reinstated himself to WWE's board of directors, his daughter Stephanie McMahon has stepped down as co-CEO of the company. Stephanie announced her decision via Twitter on Tuesday evening. In the statement, she recalled returning to WWE last year to serve as the co-CEO along Nick Khan, which she described as a privilege. However, now that her father has returned to guide the company in collaboration with Khan and Paul Triple H Levesque, which I hate that they keep doing that, she believes that WWE is in a perfect position to deliver unparalleled creative content and drive maximum value for shareholders. So first of all, Gino, what happened to the stock price? I didn't even check.
I have no idea. The stock price, I would assume, has to be going up still because this is really smelling the fucking sense of there's going to be a sale soon. The stock price has to be just skyrocketing, guys. We're waiting for that sale when then we're going to sell everything. We have all the money back.
So, and that's kind of what, like, so Conrad Thompson also made some news somehow. Like, how does Conrad have the hot goss on, well, Nick, I can't do a Conrad. I never can do Conrad. It always ends up being Vince McMahon, or it always ends up being JR, or it ends up being, who else do I do? I think it's just JR that I do pretty much. Cornette. They're bringing in Nick Khan to sell the fucking company. So, yeah, I read a little bit of that, Gino. Do you have more deets on that? Like, Conrad was like, well, Nick Khan he's known for this. He's a butcher, damn it. He always goes in and sells companies. Is that true?
And I would have to assume, so again, I barely know anything about Nick Khan and the whole situation. I randomly did find a Conrad being in the news just because he somehow knows the business world.
Well, thank you so much. Look at all the combos. The next combo, too, from the great Kev Be Cool, Gino. He probably knows all about Conrad. He probably listens to ad-free shows, and he saw this coming a mile away. So Conrad Thompson, source says that Nick Khan has a deal with Vince McMahon to sell WWE. Khan gets a big payday. Sale talks brewing for years. And I don't listen to What Happened When. Have you ever listened to that? I'm sure you've peeped it a few times, right? Thank you.
I probably listened.
No, you go.
Yeah, I probably have listened to it one time or two just because like I was interested in both Conrad talking with both Tony and Bruce at the time when those were the two big ones for his podcasting.
Yeah, that was like all he had, right? Those were his like original. Those were the original 60s, like the NHL. So there's a lot of talk of potential WWE sale, and it appears to be serious because the company has hired JP Morgan, which that does sound serious, Like when you call it JP Morgan and not Chase, that's when it's for real because it's the same company. And the word is that the company wants to sell before the next TV media right negotiation starts, which I heard Kevin breaking down in an excellent video on Super Fun Wrestling Time. That is one of the reasons Vince even came back was they're about to do these negotiations, and in order to do those negotiations, you have to have the majority shareholder. This is the worst Impact Wrestling podcast we've ever done, Gino. There's so many big words. It's all legalities, and it's all about WWE so far. So that makes total sense because I remember thinking that too when he left. Like, he's still the majority shareholder. What's to stop him from just coming back? Elon Musk bought Twitter because he became the majority shareholder, and that created a hostile takeover, whatever they call it. So what's to stop Vince from saying, like, I still own this company, damn it, I'm coming back? Like, that's exactly what happened. Was that all work? Did he just leave for, like, no, it seems like it was just to pump the fucking share prices.
It might have been to see if he could try to get the share price by going and stepping down because he should step down with all the stuff that was going on, which I think that was real. That was not a work. But him stepping down just on screen was a work for his retirement because he would come back for this big sale when they do have it before October of 2024.
So that's like, doesn't that seem so far away? We're already in 2023, but that's over a year away. Like, can't we figure this shit out now? Like, why does it have to take that long to sell this fucking company? And is it Disney? Who are the big buyers? Or is it somebody that we wouldn't even see? Is it Anthem? Remember Dixie Carter used to joke that Impact Wrestling was going to buy WWE? What if that's the case now? Maybe it's NBC. You can just see NBC Universal just wanted control of it. It's on Peacock anyway. Fox also, if SmackDown, I don't know what are the ratings like for SmackDown? Are they happy about that shit? Like, it's probably really hard when you have the NFL and then you're like, how did WWE do? Well,
It would be hard, really figure that out. And I don't know who all could be in that running for the billions of dollars he'd have to pay Vince McMahon for these rights. But I think if anyone should buy it, it should be Mark Cuban. So Mark Cuban put that on Access, and we could have Impact and Access.
Yeah, SmackDown could lead into Impact Wrestling, just like we've always wanted. Much like Impact has to lead in for New Japan, and they're in the middle of the amazing Josh Alexander match. They're fucking talking about FTR versus some Japanese. Who gives a shit? I was like, no one wants to watch that. Have FTR lead into this match. FTR sucks. Josh Alexander and Speedball Mike Bailey are fantastic. So Conrad said, I've been saying this. It's all Jim Ross. Hey, it's Conrad Thompson, and you're listening to What Happened When? It's still Jim Ross. I've been saying on this program for a while that WWE was going to sell. Do you know why I said that? Because I knew. Ricardio, tier 2 to the channel. Thank you so much, Ricardio. He heard rumors that we were selling, so he's trying to get in now while it's hot. Everybody was like, he canceled the 8 p.m. time slot central. He's out. He's leaving. That's what everyone is saying, But we're here. This is the series finale, but at least we're here. He joined, and of course, he was an agent. So Nick Khan was an agent. You've heard of UTA and CAA and WME. You've all heard of those, right? Those are big Hollywood agencies. He was the guy who helped to negotiate contracts and make deals and things like that. I happen to have some friends who needed representation like that. Will say that. Conrad Thompson continued on his WCW fucking podcast. He said, my friend was represented by the same company that Nick Khan was sort of running. And when my friend sees the guy who runs the big agency is now going to WWE, he thought, what the fuck? This doesn't make any sense. So he called his contact and said, dude, what's up with Nick going? Blah, blah, blah. And he said, yeah, this is years ago now. He's got a deal with Vince where in his contract, he gets a big payday when he helps facilitate the sale. So an insider is saying that WWE is selling. That seems to be the whole reason Nick Khan was even brought in. I don't know. I guess I can believe it. We didn't know. Vince is going to die eventually. It looks like every time I see him, I think it's tomorrow. I remember Vince as this really tan and jacked fucking monster taking on Hogan at WrestleMania. And now when I see him, he just looks like an avocado that you leave out too long. So I don't know, Gino. What do you think? Is WWE being sold, and what's the future? Is Paul Triple H Levesque? Is he going to be the buyer?
Malachi Black says Vince looks like a melting candle.
Oh, worse than that. What do you think, Gino?
And I have to see that WWE is going to be bought out soon. I hope deep down it's going to be one of those people or one of those companies that MJF did tweet about, basically teasing that, I hope one of these promotions, that one of these companies that I support, I like, is going to be bought out, because then he's going to be having even more money going into 2024 when he does not go to WWE.
Well, and even I love the way this article ends. Like, the main topic this week is the debut of WCW Thunder. It's like, what the fuck? How did this come up? Like, you're listening to What Happened When WCW launched Thunder on TBS. And by the way, what the fuck's up with Nick Khan? Like, it's so strange that was the way the whole conversation ended up going. I don't listen to that one, Gino. I canceled my ad-free shows. Once I listened to all the Bruce Pritchard ones, I have no interest. Even Jeff Jarrett's, I just didn't. I don't like My World. The Kurt Angle show's a joke. I'm so shocked that. Hey, no, Conrad, let me do the intro. Let me do it. I can do it. Your Olympic hero and WWE Hall of Famer Kurt Angle, and my guest today, Randy Orton. How can I be so excited for something and so let down in 3 minutes, Gino?
I know it doesn't make any sense, but Jeff Jarrett's, I think, at least is somewhat enjoyable from what I've been able to hear of recent ones, even though he does try to make it into a work into what he's doing.
Put that shit on.
Thank you so much, Tafa Spleechinoku. I said that whole thing wrong, Gino. So I find all of that odd. I think it's Vince is back, Stephanie's gone. What does Stephanie do now?
Put that shit on. Put that shit
Thank
on.
you so much. Stephanie says she's going to watch from the other side of the house. What does that mean?
She's going to be a fan again. She gets to be back when she was a kid, just being a pro wrestling fan, not even a part of the business. She gets to just enjoy wrestling before Macho Man Randy Savage ruined her entire life.
I don't think that she enjoyed wrestling ever. I think her dad just kind of did it, and she was just like, oh, yeah, Dad's doing it. I'll fucking watch it. I don't care. Oh, I can make millions? I'll take a job. Whatever, Dad. Let's do this. Gino, we got some terrible news. Let's talk about real wrestling again. We're the official, unofficial discussion of Impact Wrestling, so it's only important that we address the elephant in the room, Gino. Wrestling Inc. reports, Brian Myers gives contract update and talks a possible WWE return? The fuck is this, Gino?
And I thought he just signed for his, the extension being to the end of this year. Is there now change to his contract? Is this not real? We were told earlier this week, last week.
He was on Busted Open Radio, which I know that you're a huge fan of. How many of those do you listen to?
I don't listen to any Busted Open, especially because Bully Ray tries to make that even more of a work about his character on Impact Wrestling.
So he says that's a never say never scenario, right? For everybody, Myers said. I think I always was a Vince guy. I think he was always a fan of me and could rely on me and could trust in me to get it done or to get what he wanted done. I just became like his go-to good hand guy like that. If he needed me or if he needed something done of me or if he needed something done, it was me. That's why and he brought this up on my cousin's podcast, Chris Van Vliet, Insight. Is that what it's called? Insight with Chris Van Vliet. I'm sure you listened to that, Gino. And I remember him saying he wrestled on Main Event 13 weeks in a row. And he had lengthier matches on Main Event every single week because he knew that Vince watched Main Event from his office, while he was getting ready for Raw. And he would just try and have the best match that he possibly could. And then it became like a streak. Like Vince would always put, we need to test out Ricochet. Give him Brian Myers. We got to test out Cedric Alexander, Brian Myers. Who is wrestling tonight? Put them against Kurt Hawkins at the time is what his name was. Life certainly is good. Just re-signed with Impact Wrestling. So maybe you are right. Maybe he is locked up for this year. So we get one more year of Brian Myers. I've got all my eggs in that basket right now. I'll be 38 this year, and I still feel like I'm in the prime of my career. So I've got a real chip on my shoulder. I agree with that. Obviously it's a different prime when you're kind of a jobber and a mid-carder your whole life. But he is kind of in, at least for you and me, we're Impact Wrestling marks. He's in the prime of his career, and I think there's a lot more that's about to be done. He's never won the Impact World title, even though when he fought Christian, you and I were both thinking, why wouldn't he win? He deserves it. So what are your thoughts? Do you think he does leave Impact? Do you think he goes to WWE? He doesn't strike me at all as an AEW guy. He really doesn't. It's either Impact Wrestling main eventer or WWE mid-carder.
And I completely agree with that. It's either WWE if he does. Again, 2024 is a long way away. We don't know where things are going to line up. I feel Impact Wrestling is just going to go to the moon in 2024, and he's going to re-sign, and the most professional wrestler is going to be more respected because he's going to have an amazing match this Friday, which I am really excited to see because I have a feeling who's winning this match.
Yeah, well, and you're going, Geno. I know that we keep alluding to it, but you're going to Hard to Kill. Geno is Hard to Kill. This Friday night, you're going to take the train from Marietta to Atlanta. Do they have a train? How do you get there?
Thankfully, my stepdad is willing to give me a ride to the venue, so that saves me $100. So at least save $100. But I'm going to have to spend $100 on the way back. But I already have that money squared away. Have that ready. I'm going to be going to Hard to Kill Friday. I'm excited. At least save some money.
What's the update?
Spend some on merch.
What's the update on you just getting a license? Because you can borrow the car and drive to Atlanta to watch these wrestling shows.
And I could, but at the same time, I'm not ready to try to do the whole testing and all that shit just yet. Soon, I'm going to.
You're waiting until you're like 30 for that, right? Like a lot of us waited till we were 18, but you're like, nope, 30. I'm going to figure out this driving thing when I'm good and ready for it. I appreciate you for saying that. So Brian Myers is sticking around with Impact Wrestling at least for a year. I do think he belongs in Impact, in my opinion. Like if he goes to WWE, like he's not like Cody, where he's thinking like, oh, I'm gonna go win the big one. Like for Kurt Hawkins to return to WWE, it's like I'm here to win tag titles again. Like that would be the most he could accomplish. I feel is him and somebody else start a tag team. Him and Gabby Tuft reform a tag team and he wins some belts. There's no way he comes back and wins like a WWE. Now, obviously, if he wins the Royal Rumble this year, I'll be fucking stoked. That's what should happen, Geno, but it won't happen. So, I don't know. He has picked up wins over Josh Alexander, Rich Swann. He has had a nice little run here. What is he doing at Hard to Kill, though? I watched Impact. I don't even think I saw his face.
Well, at Hard to Kill, we do have the major players in a match. It's a tag team match with multiple other tag teams that include the Bullet Club, Heath and Rhino, and one other tag team that I know you'd be excited to see in this Fatal 4-Way. The Motor City Machine gets the tag team champions.
Thank God you reminded me. I did see him. He was at ringside. Hard to Kill 2023. We're on the official Impact Wrestling website, en.wikipedia.org. And we are here to, because, Geno, you're going to be there. I don't know if I've told you this. So Hard to Kill is an upcoming professional wrestling pay-per-view produced by Impact Wrestling. It will take place on January 13th, Friday the 13th, Geno. What's Black Taru up to? At the Center Stage in Atlanta, Georgia. Fourth event under this Hard to Kill chronology. Hard to Kill's had some big ones, right? That was when Tessa won the championship, which, by the way, hurt. Tessa's getting a divorce, Geno. Can we talk about Impact Wrestling headlines for a second? How come her and Daga can't make it work? What's happening?
Well, I mean, there was this tweet that was deleted that Daga posted about cheating. So Tessa is a cheater. We now know this. So Tessa is not to be trusted in a relationship.
Does everyone hate Tessa Blanchard? And I'm just like an ignorant wrestling fan. Like that one black lady was like, she called me the N-word. And Scott D'Amore was like, can you just send us some like videotape promos on your iPhone?
Malachi Black says Tessa is a slut.
She wouldn't send the videotape promos.
TWFS says our girl is single Vleeties.
That's the other side of this. So now that she's been freed from Daga, and by the way, did it matter? We probably had a shot without Daga or with them. Who cares? So Geno, Tessa Blanchard single. She's also single in the wrestling world. Where do we get Tessa? How come she's not hard to kill? Is she hard to kill? That'd be sick.
That would be sick. That would be amazing. But I don't think she's going to be hard to kill. Someone is going to be hard to kill. She does not have a match, but she's going to be in the post-show, like meet and greet after it. So it does kind of spoil one match, is that Tara's going to be there. So I think we now, sadly, Mickie James's match and what's going to happen. It's sad.
What do you mean?
Because Tara's going to be there, it makes it seem very obvious that Mickey's losing because her best friend's going to be there. It's going to be a sad moment, and they're going to be able to converse, like hold each other, be like, this is the end of your career, and her closest friend's going to be there to see it.
Tara's going to be at ringside, like, and they're going to show her, like, oh, like, here to watch Mickie James, and possibly her last match is Lisa Marie, and Tara's going to be there waving, and then Mickey's going to win the belt. You don't think Mickey's winning the belt? She's definitely, Deanna's winning the Fatal 4-Way. One more match, Deanna and Mickie at Slammiversary, 3 stages of hell.
I think if any match gets another match going on, it's going to be Jordan Grace and Masha Slamovich.
No,
that's what's going to happen.
No,
Jordan is going to beat Mickie, and Masha's going to win the Fatal.
Even having Deanna on commentary, I was thinking we are wasting our talent. Like this girl, even though like she's not the sexiest, I'll agree, but just like the way she carries herself on the microphone, Jordan Grace doesn't have that chutzpah that I'm looking for in a certain wrestler. Deanna comes out and acts like the champion, and meanwhile, Like, I forget Jordan Grace is even the champion. Mickie James, they showed that whole promo thing. Mickie James rules. I can't believe you don't like Mickie James. Did that promo package turn you around a little bit? Like, because I know you're kind of a Mickie James hater, but watching her explain why she wanted to have another run in Impact, didn't that make you love her?
It did make me love her, and that's why part of me is like, with me seeing that Tara's going to be there and me right after the show, that it just makes me realize that this might be Mickey's last match, and in 2023, will be a witness Mickie James's last match of wrestling. It's going to be sad, it's going to be emotional, it's going to be a big moment to start off 2023 with her retiring.
Yeah, she's probably going to lose. But either way, like, I don't think having Lisa Marie there to sign autographs. Hey, Lisa, why don't you come down and do an autograph signing? That'll make us some money. Like, that's all that is. They know that that's another added venue. Like, oh, I get to go meet Lisa in person? Like, I thought she was so hot. And I watched that video on xvideos.com/Geno. And we all know what that video ends with, Geno. So that doesn't spoil anything for me. But I don't know how you changed the subject so drastically. Tessa Blanchard. That's what happened, Geno? So Tessa, if you're Impact Wrestling and she's available, why is she Joey Ryan? Is she just so blackballed?
She is pretty much a heat magnet that some companies are not ready for. Maybe if she does go to an independent promotion, she just like welcomes her and she tries to prove herself again, go all the way back from the bottom and make her way back up. Maybe people will respect her again.
I'm not seeing the grits plan. I definitely turned on the grits, Geno. Let's try and fix the grits for our friend Nathan Weller. So what about Dilfoy? Is Dilfoy booking Tessa Blanchard? How come some people, like, why is she a heat magnet? I don't understand where that comes from. Like, is it just there was that allegation that was never proven true? There was I got fired from Impact because I didn't want to send in videos.
Says put that shit on.
Put that shit on. Thank you. It works, Geno. We fixed it. What is the real problem?
One of the big ones was the one black chick who was working her in New Japan. In Japan, don't remember it was a regular promotion in Japan, and she did call her the N-word just because she got really heated because of fucking spot for whatever reason that she decided to call her the N-word. And this other stuff that did come out around that time, like if I called Chelsea Green, what was her name in fucking the chick in the Hex in NWA, she talked about it. A lot of people did come out about their issues with Tessa.
Marty Bell?
I forget, not Marty Bell, the other one part of the Hex.
Sienna?
Allison Kay.
Okay.
Allison Kay, yeah, Sienna, yes. She spoke out about all this stuff too. Like there was a lot of stuff that came out similar to Joey Ryan, that once one domino fell, the rest of it came and fell into place.
But isn't it all hearsay? Isn't none of that proven? Like, it's all just, oh, well, I said this, now you said this, now since they said this, like, it's all true? Like, what if everybody just had one bad interaction with Tessa? What if me, you, and Tyler all really love Tessa? And then they're like, well, no, she was mean to me. It's like, well, maybe you did something wrong, Sienna. We've already heard Bruce Pritchard, who's never told a lie. He said that she was really difficult to work with when he was in Impact Wrestling.
Yes, we got to figure this out. Hopefully, again, that's still the Tessa just needs to go, learn new hold, work on herself, get back into wrestling, and then prove that she can be that top star again.
Well, like, what hold does she need to learn? She has been gone since 2020, at least from like the main event or like the main wrestling scene. I don't watch WoW Women of Wrestling with Kevin, although he invited me over. He's like, "Come over, we'll watch WoW." And I was like, "Dude, I don't have any ass, so I didn't drive over there." But I think that she's already a proven commodity. And even Kevin in the chat, like this, as I'm saying that, Tessa has nothing to prove or learn. Like, yeah, her name is Blanchard. She has a great body. She looks like a wrestler. She looks like she can kick your ass. She beat up Sami Callihan. We saw it at Hard to Kill. So why are we not trying to put her in a promotion? Like, imagine this bullshit. Like, what's this match that we're having in 2 nights or whatever? Soraya's trying to find a tag partner. She needs a tag partner. I'm going to go with Toni Storm. What's so alike? What if she brought in Tessa Blanchard? That would have blew our minds. We would have, marked out. We would have ripped our shirts off. We definitely need Tessa in AEW hanging out with Paige, or we need Tessa in WWE beating up Bianca. There's a lot of good spots for her that I think she could pop a territory. But, people said she was mean.
And if anything, I do think she would go to WWE and be a WWE star before anything, if it was anything else. Because AEW, with the whole stuff that Tully finally spoke out about, I think they wouldn't respect the Blanchard name like WWE would.
What did Tully say? Why are you always breaking news like I already know the news?
I thought you would have caught up because you did hear about the Stephanie stuff. I thought you would have heard that Tully spoke out about the AEW release.
All right, Gino, you're a wrestling journalist. I want you to tell the audience what happened with Tully Blanchard.
I'm not entirely caught up. I just reread this. I'm almost like a hashtag head. Like I saw him speaking out. I kind of got a blurb of it. Like it's just, it seems as though there were just some issues with AEW and Tully, and they just, I don't understand. Like it made no sense because I'm trying to think in the time of what was going on with him and FTR, and them just quickly getting rid of him, then getting the embassy involved. It made no sense to me. Just when all of this was going on and what he spoke out about.
I love that you admitted you're a hashtags and headline guy. That explains a lot about your political views, and I appreciate you for admitting that. That you were even the kind of man CM Punk is. I like it. No, you don't. See, WWE Hall of Famer Tully Blanchard was prominent on AEW television in the promotion's first couple years. You remember that, Gino.
Malachi Black says, Gino, as a journalist, you need to provide new information to the listeners, not just the headlines.
Or even just read, do what I'm doing. I'm the one who had to Google it real quick. And during an appearance on with Arn Anderson on the Two-Man Power Trip podcast. Fuck! Who took that name, Gino? That should be us. Okay, this is the Two-Man Power Trip podcast. My name is Ryan Van Vliet. Joining me is Sonic_Gino. We have Tully Blanchard here. Tully, how are you? Do you have a Tully impression, Gino? I don't have one. He doesn't go into details, but it sounds like it wasn't just that his contract was up. So Tully says, and I quote, remember that? Remember Michael Cole? I am no longer with AEW or Ring of Honor or any subsidiaries thereof. I love the words people are using today. That sounded pretty legal, didn't it? I would imagine that my wrestling career is probably over, other than doing autograph shows and things like we did in Nashville. I don't know how many retirement last matches Ric Flair can have. No, it was a little more complex than his deal expiring, but my contract is up and I'm gone. He later said he doesn't think that WWE or AEW would have him back, and he wondered where else he would go between those two places. So then he mentioned, I personally would prefer my last match. Unfortunately, AEW talked me into one, but before that, most of my matches, and I think I only wrestled 6 or 7 times after my full-time career. And people's memories of me and Arn, me and the Horsemen, back in those days when I could actually do it. I mean, I can't do it anymore. I was asked to do my last match with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. And I said, I'm not going to embarrass myself and go out there and not be able to do what I used to be able to do in those videos. I don't know. What do you think? So for him, he wanted to have a dramatic send-off in AEW. He was always kind of a back character.
He wanted to at least have one moment. He probably felt like the FTR, this is the guys we could put me behind, and I could help them. We could have this big moment where I can build pretty much a new 4 horsemen, and then we do lose, but then it's because they lose me, and not just because some stupid emotional thing where it's about family, and you don't care about family, you care about money.
Who doesn't do that? Who doesn't care about the family part? Who doesn't care about the money? Who's this?
Tully doesn't care about, Tully didn't care about family, cared about money. Remember, FTR cared about family. It was all about family with FTR, but Tully only cared about the money, and he was like, no, you're out because you only care about money.
That was a little weird. Yeah, and that was barely a storyline. It was really barely a storyline. It probably was FTR. Somebody didn't like Tully, and they were just thinking, okay, how do we get Tully off of these guys? And they need mouthpieces. Can we stop pretending that it's going well without Tully Blanchard? Tully added a whole level of, they're coming out to the Midnight Express song. They have one half of the Brainbusters. This is a perfect package that they had. And by perfect, I mean as good as it got for FTR. So when they got rid of Tully and they got rid of the Pinnacle, a lot of that stuff shielded. Them being part of that whole package was a lot more digestible than what we're getting now. So why get rid of it? That had to be, hey, we're turning face and we're going to win matches all over the world. We don't want you to kind of muddy the waters. I can't think of any other reason why they would want to get rid of Tully Blanchard.
Yeah, and I'm sure FTR would not want to get rid of Tully Blanchard. I might actually listen to Dax's podcast just to be like, maybe he'll talk about Tully now that Tully's speaking about this, to see if Dax had any issue with Tully, or if Tully left or got his contract expired because of somebody in the back in AEW.
Wait, so you don't think that? So you're the opposite of me. I'm thinking FTR is like, hey, we got this. We don't need some old fuck. We don't want to be known as FTR with Tully Blanchard. We want to be known as FTR. So I'm thinking that's exactly what happened. These are the guys that don't want to lose. Like, you're thinking it was Tony Khan was like, hey, no, not tonight, guys. Break up.
That's what I think. I think it's somebody who's winning Tony's ear, like Jericho, who tries to get his way. Be like, no, we don't need Tully anymore. Get rid of Tully. I can be the mouthpiece. I'm going to be sick of this whole feud with the Pinnacle and the Inner Circle. I can do all the talking for everybody. You don't need Tully. Tully gets out of the picture because of him.
It's always Jericho's fault with you. You don't think that FTR went into TK's ear like, we're your number one tag team. We sell the most shirts because we're the only shirt available at the merchandise stand. You better fucking get rid of Tully Blanchard because we're going to AAA and we're going to win some belts. And then we're going to New Japan and we're going to win some belts. And when you have that Ring of Honor pay-per-view, we're going to win some belts. Like, that's exactly what happened. Dax was in TK's ear smoking weed and eating a sandwich, and he definitely wanted to get rid of Tully Blanchard. And that whole Pinnacle Inner Circle thing, this was after. This was way after when they got rid of Tully. Because then you go into, Tully Blanchard Enterprises and shit. Like, we are definitely past Jericho going, hey, get rid of Tully. If anything, Jericho was like, Tully, one more match. You and me, lemonade stand match. Let's do this.
And we got to figure this out. That's why
I figured it out.
Dax's podcast.
I solved it.
Dax is going to tell us the truth. He wouldn't lie. Dax tells the truth no matter if he gets heat from it or not. So maybe Dax will tell us about Tully. If there was heat with somebody backstage that was not him or Cash.
Rethinking that, I listened to that, the only one of the only 2 episodes of the oral sessions that I've ever listened to was that AOP episode. Those guys were so full of shit, right? And now, like, years removed, thinking about everything was like, no, they were definitely, they made a cryptocurrency. Like, everything about what they were doing was so sketchy. They were like, I'm watching this Netflix documentary about Bernie Madoff, where it's like a Ponzi scheme. They were definitely just having people buy their cryptocurrency, and then they told the wrestlers they were going to be paid with, like, this crypto money, and then it all fell through, and it's like, what? Thank you so much, Scott Steiner. That's amazing. So, I don't know, Gino. I'm the more I listen to the two-man power, why is it this name? 2-Man Power Trip of Wrestling podcast. Isn't that, people already know. You don't have to put of wrestling, right?
They just want to make sure in case Davey still has the license to the amazing tag team that was Stone Cold and Triple H.
The TMPT. When you really look back, they were only together for like 2 months, right? Hunter tore the quad real quick after that.
Yeah, he did. They just didn't know what to do after that. Like, Stone Cold turned heel. We had Stone Cold Triple H, and then they didn't know. They quickly had to turn Stone Cold babyface.
I hated that heel turn for Austin. Like, I remember watching that WrestleMania so confused by that ending, and people still say greatest WrestleMania ever. And I think it was just wrestling at the time was so hot. Like, WCW was gone. ECW was gone. Like, this is just the culmination of pretty much the Attitude Era. This felt like the season finale of the Attitude Era, and it was culminated with fucking Austin turning. What the fuck? So, Gino, let's get back to some important wrestling, okay? WWE sucks. I don't know how we keep getting dragged back into it. Tully Blanchard sucks. I don't know. Has he ever been an Impact? No. Why do we give a fuck? I think he was, actually, wasn't he? Didn't Tully Blanchard Enterprises make a debut or something in Impact? Didn't they get involved?
I don't recall Gates of Agony or Brian Cage or any part of like the embassy or anybody getting involved when Tully came in. So no, I don't believe Tully Blanchard Enterprise ever showed up. But we did have the Hardy Party in Impact, though.
Yes, we did have. That's pretty much the only like AEW crossover besides the Kenny Omega stuff, right? Was when we got the Hardy Party. We got our good friends Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Quinn. They suck, right? You know, we kind of, even they've kind of realized that we've already hit our ceiling, right?
And they hit their ceiling because the Young Bucks put themselves over, and we never got the real match where they put over the party and make them bigger. So I think it's because it's too little, too late now. After Young Bucks,
Malachi Black says Hardy's Revenge.
Hardy's Revenge. Hardy's Revenge. Still the greatest moment in Impact. See, Impact Wrestling gives moments like that. Okay, you guys can talk about you thump your Bible talking about John 3:16. Austin 3:16 says I just whipped your ass. Nobody remembers that. Everybody remembers Hardy's Revenge. Hardy's Revenge. So, Geno, let's get into this card. You're going to be there. I watched the Go Home to the Go Home show of Impact Wrestling. A lot of confusion on my part, by the way, because I haven't watched it in a few weeks. I watched that Josh Alexander, Mike Bailey thing, and I thought this is the greatest show in the history of professional wrestling. And then I didn't watch ever again because it's professional wrestling, or because it's Impact Wrestling. So this card has its flaws. I'm going to throw that out there. I did watch this Go Home to the Go Home show. Joe Hendry is involved. Let me just say that, Joe Hendry. And Moose is either the greatest villain in wrestling history or he's a fucking idiot. Joe Henry. Though Henry said this. His Dusty Rhodes impression. Joe Henry, baby. I'm never going to say your name correctly, baby. Why does he constantly call him Joe Henry? Can he not fucking figure this out?
Because the whole gimmick, you don't understand, Joe Hendry. Say his name and he appears. He doesn't want to say his name because he doesn't want to appear. This loser does not need the fucking TV time. He doesn't deserve it. Moose just wants to fucking beat the shit out of him. And he's the best villain because Joe Hendry's the best babyface.
I gotta make sure he says it because he made that comment at the end of this really bad promo, and he's like, all I have to do is say your name. And that was kind of his like, oh, you said the name, Joe. So he was saying it incorrectly the entire time because he knew once he said Hendry, he was going to show up. Is that what you're saying? Because that's not what happened.
That is part of what happens. Whenever you say Joe Hendry or his name, he does show up. And it's weird. Joe Hendry's the best.
No, he's awful. Like that's why I hate this show. So Joe Hendry is a guy that I remember. What was that show that What Culture Pro Wrestling? That was a thing, right? Is that WCPW?
Yeah, WCPW, and then they were like Defiant.
Defiant, that's what it's called.
Before that, ICW as well.
I watched some Defiant Pro Wrestling, and he was on that, and he was one of the main guys. And I just remember thinking, this guy sucks, but he probably can develop and turn into something. But Dancing Moose. So you were excited to show me this, by the way. Like, you sent me this. Like, we got to watch Dancing Moose. But let me find out let me scroll back. Let's scroll back a little.
And I'm going to wipe that stupid smile off your face. I'm going to take you to hell and back, and I'm going to have a damn lovely good time doing it. In fact, this job is going to be so easy.
This video has 220 likes on Impact, by the way, on YouTube, by the way.
I don't want to wait till Hard to Kill. And I've learned something the last few weeks.
All right, here you go, Geno. This is your part.
Get a fight with Joe Henry. All I have to do is one simple thing. All I have to do is say his name.
He never said Joe Hendry. He just kept calling him Joe Henry. Joe Henry this, Joe Henry that, Joe Henry this, Joe Henry that. Like, it was really cringe because now here comes Joe Hendry. Big old smile on my face. Big old smile on my face. So this guy's awful, Geno, but you like this guy, right?
He's entertaining. He's really what would be the best part of entertainment in Impact. He's basically the sports entertainer of Impact.
He's the Johnny Swinger for you. He's your new Johnny Swinger. Like, every once in a while, you got to have some comedic relief. So this guy fulfills that role. That part was kind of cool. It was like he was already there. He just appeared. They played the song really fast.
Nothing worse than a grumpy moose.
Woo!
Because I'm eating the same.
Geno, when you go, you better be rowdy as fuck. This crowd is asleep. They were in Fort Lauderdale, and like I thought, when I think of Fort Lauderdale, I think of fucking a raucous crowd. These guys were sleeping through this whole episode, which I imagine means the go home show is going to be a hell of a snooze fest as well. How many people are in this building? Do you think?
I'm not sure how many people, but with them taping, again, they like tape multiple weeks in advance. So like they probably are like, it's the second episode or second episode's worth like later in the show. It's like they probably are tired, but they are still going to like be hyped up for the bigger moments, like seeing Josh Alexander or Speedball Mike Bailey wrestle.
You better be worse than me when I was, or better than me at least when I was at AEW. I want to hear like whoa, let's go, Joe Hendry. Like, I want to hear some of that shit from you in the crowd.
Cry for help that I heard before.
So he's also from another country.
TWFS says the terrorists bought WWE and are holding US all hostage this time.
Is that what's going on in Saudi Arabia? Are they going back, Gino? Isn't WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia or something next year, they were saying?
Maybe it will. We won't be in Hollywood like we're being told. It's going to be in Saudi Arabia, Hollywood.
No.
California.
I meant the one after. I know this one's for sure is in Los Angeles. Is The Rock coming back? He's pretty yoked. He looks like he could do another match, Gino. With Vince McMahon returning to the helm, you know he's got The Rock's number.
Yeah, he's got The Rock's number. We got to see what happens. He also has Brock's number. We can have the unsanctioned match like that fake, spoiled, leak WrestleMania card is with Gunther versus Brock at WrestleMania.
That would be sick.
About being the hero, and then the villain, and then the scumbag? That's not the real Moose. The real Moose is in here. And I think if you let
you
these
love this
people
shit, Gino.
see the real Moose, they'd really like you.
Everyone loves the local hero.
So tonight, why don't we let the Moose loose?
That belt is so
Joe
pointless.
Hendry-
The Digital Media Championship. Like, when they announced that, we all laughed. And it kind of, I know they wanted to have
Malachi
like,
Black says fucking hell this sucks.
dude, it's even worse because it's in a fucking garage. There's nobody there. Like, that belt, when they introduced it, was like, oh yeah, well, we have BTI, which is on YouTube. We have the YouTube, like, if you're a member of Ultimate Insiders, like I am, you do get notifications like, you know, Joe Hendry defends his title at some other independent wrestling promotion. So, like, the title kind of travels all throughout digital media. But it's still like can't we just have like an Intercontinental title? Why do we have to have a digital media championship?
It's because we need to have something that's not just the internet title, because other promotions have the internet title, but no other promotions have a digital media world's champion like Joe Hendry and Macadonia.
Hendry is going to help you do that because I want to help you, Moose. I've gone to a lot of trouble to help you show the real Moose. I have written you a song.
Woo!
I have written
See,
you...
they should be way more louder. Like, they're like me. They don't know who Joe Hendry is. They're like, okay, I'm trying to figure out why he's got a belt, trying to figure out who he is.
New entrance music to show the real Moose. Now, who wants to hear it?
They popped for that.
Let's take a listen.
Let's go. Football. Podcasters, you might want to be here live for that one. I don't know, Gino. This sucks. Like, it's not funny. It's just cringe, and we're all just sitting. Even the crowd. There's one guy who's like, "Ha ha!" Like, you know, that's just Ray Wald off headset.
Yeah, they were enjoying it because it's just making fun of Moose, especially his great match with Sami Callihan when he did spear himself into a trash can.
No. I said that one guy was laughing and you go, yeah, they're enjoying it. No, one guy's enjoying it. The rest of us are like, oh my gosh. Yeah, I believe Moose dancing. This was not good.
It was entertaining.
Woo! Dancing Moose! Dancing Moose! You better be going apeshit when you're there. Can I make that more clear? You better be freaking out when you're there.
It's going to be a great time when I'm there. We're going to see how the Suicide do work that same day, 9 to 3, if I recall.
Don't give a fuck.
So once I get there, go into the venue after hopefully get in there an hour and a half before 7:30 when the pre-show does start, so I can hopefully meet some wrestlers, buy some merch, and be hyped up for this amazing card that I get to
You're
see.
not already hyped up?
I'm going to be even more hyped because I'll be there in the moment,
okay.
especially with these 2 pre-show matches. I'm just really, really
Dude, I'm
excited.
fucking fired up. There might be a companion. It's on a Friday night, which is the worst night for wrestling. That's not SmackDown. Why do they do it on Fridays now? Is it because they got burned once by AEW and they're like, they'll never do a pay-per-view on a... Triple H is running it. They'll never run a pay-per-view on a Friday. So that has to be what happened, right?
It's good. They just do it now. It's just what they're accustomed to. It's going to be it's always special. It's Friday night specials. No one cares about SmackDown. It's all the same garbage anyway. Impact Wrestling realizing, Friday, people can go out on a Friday night, come see a wrestling show, and have some amazing wrestling content.
13 people are going to go to this show with you, Geno, and the rest of us are going to be at home watching as the Death Dolls, Jessica Havoc, your favorite, Rosemary, your other favorite, Ty Valkyrie, my favorite. Who out of these 3, which OnlyFans have you seen the most of?
There's only one of them that has an OnlyFans. That's Jessica.
Oh, I thought Taya had one too. She has one of those things. It's a subscribe, a fan creator or something. She's got one where she's got racy photos as well, Geno. How's the Jessica Havoc one? Do you like that, OnlyFans?
I have not checked out Jessica Havoc's OnlyFans, but what I at least like is that Rosemary, Courtney Rush does not have one. She has a respectable person. Her and Andrew Everett have a great relationship, and she does not need to go on OnlyFans.
Damn.
They're a great relationship.
Damn, dude, together. Burn. You're burning everyone with an OnlyFans. Shots fired at Jordan Grace, your Diva of the Year. They're taking on Giselle Shaw, Savannah Evans, and Tasha Steeles with Jay Vidal. I've seen him wrestle before. I didn't realize how his character is.
Malachi Black says Mike Jackson, the UFC fighter.
Yeah, I saw this name, Mike Jackson. That's not the UFC fighter, right? That's somebody else.
No, it's Action Mike Jackson. He's a professional wrestler. He's wrestled for so long, and he actually wrestled Macarona at the last GCW show I was at, where he wrestled some old dude. We're like, who's this guy? Action Mike Jackson. He's been wrestling for decades.
He black? Is he a black dude?
No, he's a white dude.
Oh,
he
okay.
actually wrestled also on Impact. He wrestled Johnny Swinger 2 years ago, or 2020.
Oh, because I saw when I went to the Blood Hunter show where Blood Hunter almost murdered that referee. There was a guy named Action something, and he's been wrestling for 40 years. So okay, Death Dolls versus the 2 chicks and Giselle Shaw. Who you think's winning, Geno?
Well, I think especially since it is the numbers game. The numbers game is against the Death Dolls because of Jay. And Jay's a really good, talented performer.
He's pretty good.
He's even more talented than Caleb with the K. So I feel like with them having someone in their corner will not give them enough of an advantage. And Death Dolls are still going to win, especially now that they have new merchandise in the form of actual dolls that people can buy.
How does
your
brain work? Why did you just take a shot at Caleb with a K for no reason? There's not even a comparison to be made. Are you saying because he was a manager for the Influence, much like Jay is a manager for this team? That's why it's similar and Jay's better. Where did that come from? Shots fired.
I was making guesses. You understood the reference was because the Influence were not able to beat Jessica and Rosemary before, so they will. This new team of Tasha, Savannah, who cannot get along at all, it seems now, and now Giselle Shaw. It's just going to be a wedge driving between the two, and Savannah Evans is going to be a single star, no longer with Savannah. It's Tasha Steeles after this.
Just a phenomenal brain there, Geno. I'm fast. That's why you're a wrestling journalist. Alan Angels, I think that's who's in this match, taking on Bhupinder Gujar, taking on Kushida, which, wow, remember how excited everybody was? He's leaving WWE, it's going to be great. Here he is in the pre-show. Mike Bailey, the biggest name in this fucking company, he's on the pre-show against a guy named Mike Jackson. What are you doing? And then Yuya Yamura. This sounds shitty, Geno. You can show up late. Mike Bailey.
This is going to be a great match, and I do feel what's going to happen is because this whole storyline we have going on with Mike Bailey and Kenny King, and the match is sadly not happening at the shows. You see, it's happening later on in the month, but it's going to be an amazing fight. They're going to have this pit fight that I'm just so hyped for as well. But I know, maybe, just maybe, I'll get to see Kenny King. They're costing Mike Bailey this match. And Action Mike Jackson, the 70-year-old, is going to have the big win, bigger than Ric Flair's retirement match.
Why would they not have Mike Bailey versus Kenny King on this pay-per-view? I just watched Kenny King beat up Mike Bailey's students in the fucking fakest hallway. We got to watch more Impact. Impact Wrestling's the best. Gino, how come when you go to Mike Bailey's wrestling school, it's just in a closet? What was that about?
It's just a very special closet that everyone wishes they could be in. I want to be in this special hallway because it's the best school I think is out there. It's the best segment. I love Kenny King. He's so good.
But like, is it just a lack of giving a shit? Like, what is this little room that they cram these bros into and said, okay, we're gonna pretend that this is a wrestling school. Oh, I better be able to find this. Where the fuck was it? You know, it was so shitty. Oh, here it is. This is great.
Oh! He's not here? Where's Speedball at, man? Come on.
Speedball's not here. And you need to get out of here.
What is this room? This is so not a Speedball training dojo. There's a UFC fit. It's hot. I'm tired. It's late. Let's go. That's not Speedball. Speedball's a lot more internal. What is this shit? You know, honestly, where do you think this is, though? This is not in Quebec.
This has to be some studio. It might be out. It might be in Japan. I don't remember where he was. He was in Mexico a few weeks ago, apparently. Then he's in Montreal, Quebec, just 2 weeks later. And I don't know where he really is, but it's some studio where all these jobbers, this nice local talent, gets to be able to get a payday, thanks to Kenny King.
Well, so Speedball, he's from Quebec, so I would imagine if he had a school, and remember he couldn't come to America for like 4 years because he was in Quebec. So I'm imagining it's a shoot that he lives and he's like from Quebec. Yeah, Nathan in the chat. This is downtown Chicago, or this. I'm thinking this is just in Fort Lauderdale. They filmed this like the same day they were shooting the rest of the show. No one has like a Canadian accent.
Boy, please don't pump up your chest out like that at me before I cave it in. Do you know who I am? Anyway, I want to see. What's going on.
This show's awesome, Gino.
Keys to victory. Fight with honor and respect. Yo, what is this nonsense? Hey, man. Come on.
Oh, this is awesome, Gino. Clothesline. Look at this chick. She's going to try and get him.
So good. Oh, shit. Sleeper. Will he
She's
be
got him.
out of it?
What's up with this big dude who's just like watching? He even says,
to wait for his spot pick.
He even says, I got you, you're safe. Wait, I wanted to read all those, Gino. What do you think the other things to victory were?
I don't know. We got to try to read what are the keys to victory in this Speedball's keys.
Just imagine you pay money to go to Speedball's training class. He's not there, number one. And as far as decor, there's just a fucking poster from Dollar Tree on the wall.
Says, why did Kenny struggle to pick up that girl? What a bum.
He's getting old. Nathan, give him a break. Like, imagine going to I'm going to go to Speedball school, and all it is just a fucking poster with some Sharpie that just says keys to victory.
It'd be the best school to go to because at least you'd be motivated with that post. Be like, Speedball isn't here, but in spirit he's here because he spent that money and spent that time on making that poster.
All I know is after watching that beatdown, all I want to see is a fight pit. That's all I want to see.
Walks out.
I don't know why we now have to go through some nonsense. Why don't we get to watch? All right, here we go. It's like right after. We go to commercial. We come back.
Excuse me, Mike. What
Kenny,
was the reaction then?
You wanted to make me angry? Congratulations, you've done it. You came into my home, my dojo, roughed up my students, any of which has more heart than you. You don't want another wrestling match? That's fine. We can have a pit fight. We'll take the ropes down, we'll tape up, knockout, submission, and we'll see which one of us walks out.
What do you think, Gino? How come that's not happening at the fucking pay-per-view? I'd pay to watch that. I'd pay $40.99 to watch that.
We all would pay money to watch it. That's why I'm excited for it, but they want to really hype us up even more, to have this moment be like the pay-per-view is going to hype us up even more for this match, where Speedball might cut a promo willing to beat the fuck out of Kenny King ready for this fight pit.
So Kenny King's getting involved. Mike Bailey's not going to win. I think the victory does go to like a Mike Jackson, or maybe even to like a Kushida or a Gujar. Who gives a shit? It's fucking pre-show. All right, Gino, let's get to the main card. So this is when you're going to stop dicking around. You already bought your merch. This match, Gino, I bet you were excited for. How awesome was it when Rich Swann was yelling like, "I'm going to kill you" to Steve Macklin? How great is Impact?
And Mac, it's amazing, and I'm just looking forward to this Falls Count Anywhere match that could go on all day with Rich Swann and fucking Mac. It's gonna be an amazing all day, all night long contest. That maybe even during the Bully Ray Josh Alexander main event, we'll get the finish to this match. That's Falls Count Anywhere, anytime, all night long.
Dude, Rich Swann might be my favorite wrestler. Like, just look at his face. Like, everything is like he doesn't get it
tonight. But he messed with the wrong man and Rich Swann.
Oh, Geno, are you pumped? How pumped are you?
I'm excited. I'm so pumped to go all night long for this fucking Falls Count Anywhere match that Rich Swann gets to tell us about.
Hold on, wait. We got to show like the part, because to be honest, Macklin does kind of a good job. I kind of believe him throughout this brawl.
Now more officials out here, security, everybody available to try to pry these two apart.
Yeah, like, I'll fuck you up, I'll kill you. Like, he's like being legit, and then they just show Rich, and it's like,
Macklin's frustrations boiling over tonight, but he messed with the wrong man and Rich Swann.
dude, fucking Hard to Kill's gonna be sick. I can't believe you get to go. Who's winning this match, Geno?
And I gotta say, like, he could do with a big W right here. I think Rich Swann will go all night and have this big win over Steve Macklin.
Really? Because isn't all of this just... Sadly, aren't we building towards Macklin versus Josh Alexander, like a big singles title feud? Like, don't they view Macklin as one of their top guys, even though he's not? Like, I guess for them, he's a top guy, but he's been booked perfectly as a heel that you can definitely just imagine. Like, he even says he's on his path to become an Impact. I almost yawned while I said that, Geno. It made me so tired. He's on his way to become an Impact Wrestling World Champion. So if he's going to do that, he needs to beat former champions, i.e. Rich Swann. Isn't this the night where he finally gets one up on his friend Rich?
This could be that night, but at the same time, I feel like this could be a night Rich Swann proves himself again why he was former Impact World's Champion, while Josh Alexander is on his path of beating almost every Impact World Champion that he could face. And the next one will be Rich Swann after he beats Bully Ray.
All right, so I'm going to go with Steve Macklin. It's Falls Count Anywhere. That leaves room for shenanigans. Tag him and bag him, boys. Macklin's getting a big victory. The Digital Media Championship, we didn't really pick a winner for that. Moose versus Joe Hendry. This should be on the pre-show because it's the Digital Media Championship. They show it on digital media platforms such as BTI, such as YouTube. It's on their app, I think. So for some reason, this one you have to pay to watch. Bullshit. Is Moose winning the belt? Can't you see? Like, Moose doesn't really gain anything being the Digital Media Championship, but Joe Hendry is a babyface that I don't really give a shit about. But wouldn't you book him to win a big match like this just so maybe people like me would care about him?
This would be the moment to like make people believe even more in Joe Hendry that he could be a champion by beating Moose. But at the same time, I feel that this could be the time Moose wins this title and then throws in the garbage. We don't have the Digital Media Championship anymore because Moose just throws it away. No one wants this garbage.
He cashes it in for another world title match or some shit, or he walks around with the old TNA belt one more time. I think Joe Hendry wins. I think they have a little. They're happy that they got Joe Hendry. Like, I'm not. I don't think Joe Hendry is very good. But I haven't seen that much of him. Maybe this is an opportunity. Hey, he could mix it up with a former world champion. Probably our top heel in the company in a lot of regard, other than Bully Ray. But probably our top long-term permanent employee heel that we can use to maybe put over a couple baby faces like a Joe Hendry. And who's to say Joe Hendry keeps the belt here and Moose doesn't just beat the shit out of anybody else next week? And he can be in the title picture again. It doesn't matter. So I'm going to pick Joe Hendry for this one. Fatal 4-way to determine the number one contender to the Impact Knockouts World Championship. Now, this is an odd one. I saw Taylor Wilde the other day. She looks different. Masha Slamovich, I think, is one of the worst, but she also just lost. So I know it's not the go-home show, but watching Masha lose after the amount of momentum they put behind her kind of was like a red flag for me. Oh, no, Masha's going to win, and we're finally going to get Masha and Mickey. Killer Kelly is always there's always the option she's going to win, but they don't have a ton behind her, right? They had those vignettes, and it seemed like they were going to do something. What are your thoughts on Killer Kelly's run thus far?
I mean, she still has a streak going on. That's the whole other big thing.
Yeah.
Masha's streak did end, but Killer Kelly is undefeated still. So I think this could be the time they could pull the trigger on her winning, because either she wins or she doesn't get pinned. And I don't think Masha's going to get pinned in this match. Taylor, she could get pinned even though she has this new character, this new gimmick, the stomp that's kind of sick. But and Deonna, I don't think is going to take pin. So if anyone gets pinned, maybe Taylor would give you the one that takes the pin. If Killer Kelly is not going to somehow have this fatal four be your first loss.
Taylor's the 40-year-old, so I guess if you weren't going to put somebody over, like, you might as well pin her. It's not elimination. If it was elimination, that might be a little more enticing for me to make you got to get down to Deonna versus Masha, and Deonna finally beats her, or Masha Deonna needs a win. Come on. They booked this woman as this is their new Gail Kim Mickie James, and she wasted away last year. Chelsea Green and the tag team that no longer exist. I don't even know who the Death Dolls are the champs, right? So, like, that whole title run was so forgettable. I think Deonna needs a huge win, and then you can put her up against Jordan, up against Mickie, however, which way you want to do that. I think if you go with Killer Kelly, it's like, oh, well, Killer Kelly and Jordan Grace, you can get to that match anywhere down the road. Masha versus Jordan, we just watched. I'm not against seeing Masha Mickie, because that would kind of make sense. Like, if Mickie does pull off this victory and she's going to have a little bit more of a run, why not put over Masha, who had to put over Jordan already? So that would be a huge feather in the cap of Masha. Like, I did what you couldn't do. I beat Mickie James for the belt, and you lost your belt to Mickie. Having said all that, Deonna Purrazzo, she's the virtuosa.
She is, especially like she was the best part of commentary during that match, even though
Malachi Black says give the belt to Angelina Love.
Good call.
That one fucking spot they should have actually put more emphasis on is that fucking stomp against the ropes that she did, like Killer Kelly did, like Taylor did. But like I don't want to bet against Killer Kelly because I think this could be their time. They're going to pull the trigger on her being at least in that title picture. But I gotta say that maybe Deonna will win and pin Taylor Wilde.
Oh, this is a tough one because it is just a fatal four-way. They could get a title match next week. It could be at that New Year's Revolution premium live event they're doing. Which, by the way, how did they get that name? I know that we had a WWE New Year's Revolution. Is that just something that the trademark expired and they hopped on it? Or, like, how did they get that?
They just got it because maybe it's spelled differently than how WWE spelled Revolution. I don't know. It's just New Year's Revolution, the exact same spelling. They just have it. It's just an Impact Wrestling monthly event that's not even going to be a pay-per-view. It's their premium what's it called? Monthly Impact Plus / Impact Ultimate Insider events.
That's what they call it. They call it that really long thing. You're right. I think they just call it their monthly Impact Plus event. I think that's what it's kind of called. But I'm going to go ahead and say Deonna wins this match because I could just, if I'm booking for TNA, I'm booking long-term, and I could see value in a Deonna Jordan Grace rivalry. You don't have to have this match immediately. You don't have to have it at New Year's Revolution. You could wait until Rebellion in April. Like, you can drag something out with Deonna because at least she'll be back in kind of the main title picture. And I would love it if it was her and Mickie again. I don't know if that's going to be the case. I do think Mickie might be riding off into the sunset finally, but that's just, I would love a Deonna, because Deonna never really got the comeuppance on Mickie. So what better way to finally move on from like the Mickie James era than to give Deonna a huge win over her, not at the farm. Trey Miguel's defending his title against Black Taru. They're hyping Black Taru up like an X Division guy. He had a pretty nice match with Anthony Green, who you and I both know as August Gray. Anthony Green, by the way, I don't know why, such a great name, such a plain vanilla name, but it's better than August Gray, and it was cool to see him in Impact. I think he's going to fit in really nicely. Does he get involved in this match? Because Trey Miguel did attack him after the Black Taru versus Anthony Green match. Does Crazy Steve get involved? Trey Miguel kind of sucks as this villain, but they're trying it out, damn it.
They are trying out. At least it's something different than just the fucking weed smoker dude he was and then like kind of floundered. Now he at least has a reason for the whole spray paint shit he does, and he's a tagger. He's just an asshole, and I kind of dig at least that he has character. He's trying to be something different. But yeah, I do feel like he's probably going to get the win because there's going to be so much shenanigans with the retrosexual August Gray, Anthony Green coming back out. But like, what I would love and what they should do is get through with this whole Anthony Green stuff and have Anthony Green fight and have a long-term story with Johnny Swinger. I think that would be the greatest thing we could do with Impact right now. Have that be how Johnny Swinger gets those 50 wins so he could get a world title opportunity.
They need to get they could pull like somebody comes into Johnny Swinger's office and is like, by the way, you have a son, and we find out later it's Anthony Green. Like it writes itself, Gino. The Motor City Machine Guns, Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley, the NJPW Strong Champions, which I saw Chris Sabin holding that blue belt in the graphic, and I thought, what the fuck is that thing? Heath Slater and Rhino, they're going to be teaming up against the major players. Your boy, Matt Cardona, my boy, Brian Myers, against the Bullet Club, Ace Austin and Chris Bay, who I forget are still. I know that this whole Bullet Club thing was supposed to put them over, but it feels like kind of a hindrance now. Like I thought Madman Fulton and Ace Austin was a bigger deal than the Bullet Club. So, it's a pay-per-view. There's major players. There's always rumors of Cardona leaving. Like he's even rumored to still be in the Royal Rumble. The Bullet Club could use this because aren't they also tag champs? Aren't they also no, they're not the junior heavyweight champs. They could be if they wanted to be. I don't know who wins. Motor City Machine Guns. Who cares?
And this is going to be, I think, one of the matches of the night. This is a match of the night that I'm going to be excited to see, having all of these amazing, talented performers, especially being able to see Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley wrestle live in front of my face, just the two greatest of all time, that so many wrestlers owe so much from the Motor City Machine Guns and taking so much from them. Like Johnny Gargano is basically Alex Shelley. So there's a lot that I'm just excited to see, and I'm just so hyped to see live for the first time Alex Shelley, Chris Sabin. And I feel that this is going to be the time they do drop at least these tag team titles to the Bullet Club's Ace Austin, Chris Bay, since they're back in the States.
It makes sense. Like, they need wins because I don't really see them. I haven't watched Impact a ton, but I don't really see them as even a viable tag team or a viable threat. Like, they did show a promo package on that, the Josh Alexander versus Speedball episode, and it was just literally a video package of them in Japan beating tag teams. Like, that was all it was them as a junior heavyweight tag team beating people. So it was legitimizing them as a tag team. Like, I guess they, like, if they come back and win, and I would love to watch a long-term feud with Ace Austin and Bay versus Sabin and Shelley. That would be a lot of fun. Heath and Rhino said he was going to retire like 3 years ago. COVID just totally changed that. Like, nope, I'm wrestling forever, baby. These Impact people are paying me $80,000 a year to fake fight.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I'm actually now reminded, like, I'm gonna be able to see Heath and Rhino. This is just gonna be an amazing night Friday. Just all this amazing talent, and Rhino being the man. It's gonna be great.
How much does a guy like Rhino make, do you think? I know that we don't really talk Impact wrestling salaries, but it's just shocking to me that there's guys like Rhino that are still doing it. And even Impact Wrestling itself, you have to imagine, like, these guys aren't making the most money while they're there. And that's why so many people just leave, because you and I are always complaining about that, or at least I am. Christian Cage, oh my gosh. Christian Cage is number one. TNA Impact Wrestling salaries. Here's the 10 highest paid wrestlers, salary and net worth. Christian Cage's income this is for 2021, I believe. He was making around $650,000. He also is the current reigning Impact Wrestling Championship. His salary is expected to be around $150,000. Sami Callihan, his expected salary is roughly around $120,000. I mean, that's good money. You know, I'm a salesman. That's really good money if you're just Sami Callihan and you're working for Impact. Like, if you're assuming you maybe do 2 appearances a month, just as far as wrestling goes, like, they film most of that shit real quick. You get 1 pay-per-view a month. So, that's good money. Eric Young, his salary around $110,000. Doc Gallows $100,000. Carl Anderson $100,000. Tommy Dreamer $80,000. Rhino $70,000. Okay, so I was kind of right. I said $80,000 to go wrestle here. And Kevin in the chat, he says that's terrible for a god like Sami Callihan. Sami Callihan loses 30 pounds. He's main event picture again.
He is main event picture again. That's what we're gonna give it. Solomon Crow. He will be in the main event one more time.
One more time, dude. His promo, even though he just cut a promo, he was like talking like, "I want to be a part of the design." Like, he was cutting that promo. Remember, I just did a great impression. Like, even that, I was like, gosh, you're so big now. He wasn't always that big, Gino. We saw him hanging out in the mirror in NXT.
Malachi Black says, doesn't that say something about your company if Sami Callihan is the second highest wrestler? What a shit company.
Sami Callihan is probably the best part of Impact. It is weird. Like, someone who did, like, when I wasn't really watching Impact, I was with Nathan. I was like, dude, Sammy's the worst. But now that I watched, like, the program long term, when he was gone, remember he was hurt? I was, like, bummed out. I just thought, man, this show needs Sami Callihan. We need thumbs up, thumbs down. What does that mean, by the way? Is that just a Batista thing?
It might also be like a ratings thing, because again, he was about the whole ICU. He was all about like being a hacker, being all about the numbers. It's like sometimes they will go up, but then he chooses for them to go down. That you're going to go down. You're a loser. And that's why I'm just so excited for this Thursday, where we're going to find out, will he shave his head? Will he have this new look and join the design? Or is this going to be a trap that sets up for a match, for one more match, 11 matches on Hard to Kill?
This card needs Sam. You don't have a healthy Sami Callihan and not put him on your pay-per-view. So I agree that they should be adding matches. Who did you pick for this? You're going Bullet Club?
I am going Bullet Club. I think Ace Austin, Chris Bay as tag team champions will be a perfect moment. They're finally back in the States. They can work full-time in the States now.
I'm going Motor City Machine Guns. I don't know why. Makes no sense. Jonathan Gresham. This is the fucking Geno Invitational, bros. Jonathan Gresham versus Eddie Edwards. This is it, man. This is like the worst thing all happening at once. Your two favorites, my two least favorites. Jonathan Gresham wrestled like he was like a god this past Thursday on I was going to say SmackDown. This past Thursday on Impact, it was so like cringe for me, someone who's not a Jonathan Gresham guy, to watch him beat a jobber, and he was so excited about it. Like, look at my moves. I'm so good at this. I hope Eddie Edwards beat the fuck out of him with a kendo stick, but you know Jonathan Gresham's going to win.
No, I feel it's going to be taking back what's his. Eddie Edwards is going to come out and he's going to win this amazing contest. And Kenny might get involved even. But Eddie Edwards is going to have the big win. He's going to be using his great theme song because he's the best theme song in wrestling.
What's mine? So that you like this music, by the way. All of that music is like 04, 05, like just kind of like new metal after it was done being new. Like, you're a big fan of like 3 Days Grace, I feel.
Of course, I love 3 Days Grace and Downstate. That's what I love about the whole Matt Cardona, Brian Myers Major Players team, is it's Downstate and the Brian Myers group, that dude together, and it's just so fucking great. Butt Rock's amazing.
It is very butt rock of you. I agree. Jordan Grace, Mickie James, you kind of already gave your take. This is like that promo package they did of Mickie was also like, in my head, oh, well, she's retiring. Like, that's why they're doing this whole drawn-out story. Like when they did the babyface Bobby Roode promo, when they did the babyface Josh Alexander, like, here's my family, here's me training. Like, they're building it up so, like, oh, well, obviously he's going to win. Mickie going through her career and, like, telling that story is making me think she's obviously going to lose. I don't think that Lisa Marie being there is really going to be a telltale sign that she's losing, but I think just the way they're setting this whole thing up is so much. They didn't do that for any of the other last rodeo matches. Here we are. But you could also say she wins this. Can't you see Tom Hannafin going, Mickie James is hard to kill. Oh, this is going to be a great show. Mickie James is winning, Gino. I'm not going to root for Jordan Grace. Jordan Grace is a vanilla champion. She's not moving the needle. Nobody cares. We want Mickie James to have that belt. She brings prestige and honor to it. And when she fights Deonna at New Year's Revolution, you know how pumped we're going to be.
We're all going to be pumped for whoever Deonna's going to fight New Year's Revolution, but I do feel Jordan Grace is going to have this big W, and Mickie James is going to have her final rodeo. It's going to be a sad moment, but it's going to be an amazing contest back and forth that we've been waiting all this time, this last rodeo, to see when it will end. It sadly has to end eventually at one point.
Put that shit on! Put that shit on!
Thank you, Nathan. I appreciate that. Now let's move to the main event. Meat and potatoes. Gino, this is it. All that other shit was like just fucking appetizers. Bully Ray is back in Impact Wrestling. He returned at Bound for Glory, won the Call Your Shot, and here he is taking on Josh Alexander. He beat up Scott D'Amore. He beat up they keep saying Josh Alexander's wife's name like I'm supposed to remember it. What's her name?
It's Jade, something Jade.
No, that's it. They just keep saying Jade. Like, she's Jade and the son's Chet. Like, they just keep they go every time you see Josh Alexander, they bring up his family. Like, that's important. Like, oh, we need to make sure you guys know he's a family man. Like, this is Vince McMahon, like, from the 80s kind of shit. Like, I was about to do Shawn Michaels. He's landed in his clique. Like, that's exactly what we're seeing with this Josh Alexander. Thank you so much, Malachi Black, for the dangle. Remember the angle of the dangle, Geno? That's fantastic. Zelina looks perfect. So, who are you picking? I'm picking Josh Alexander. Is there a reason Bully Ray, 50 years old, returns, immediately gets a title shot, wins the belt?
Yeah, I don't think it's weird. Yes, we have this Full Metal Man, which is basically Impact's TLC match because they can't use TLC or tables, ladders, or chairs. So Full Metal Mayhem match. It's going to be Josh Alexander hitting C4 spikes on everything to try to murder and kill Bully Ray because he tried to kill his wife Jade.
Are they gonna? What about Chet? Are they gonna do the WWE thing where all of a sudden TLC matches end with pinfalls, or are we gonna have a belt dangling from the top of the arena?
Full Metal Mayhem never had a belt dangling, did it? It was always just a pinfall victory because that was what TLC was for them, was Full Metal Mayhem because it's all metal. Tables, ladders, and chairs were all metal.
Chairs are made of wood. Or chairs. Tables are made of wood. But also, no, there was a belt hang. TLC matches had a belt hanging. You've watched WrestleMania 17. What are you talking about?
The Full Metal Mayhem didn't always have a belt hanging. I thought Full Metal Mayhem was always a pinfall victory.
See, that's why wrestling sucks, There's no continuity. Because even under here where it says TLC, I want to see, what was the first Full Metal Mayhem match? Abyss and Jeff Hardy. That was for the champ. That was for the title. Wasn't that hanging from the top of the arena?
I don't remember now thinking about Abyss and Jeff Hardy. It might have just been a pinfall.
Against all odds. What a great idea for a thing. Can you imagine? Phi Delta Slam. We should have went to this show, Geno. So Abyss and Jeff Hardy, Full Metal Mayhem. They used to, I'm swearing to you, Geno, they hung belts from this fucking thing. That's why you have a TLC match, is because it's hanging from the ladder, but there's also tables and chairs around for weapons.
That might be a case, but that's TLC. Full Metal Mayhem was completely different, but the same.
I watched the first one. I know you weren't there in 05 with me and Kevin and Danny Richardson. We were watching these matches, Geno. We know that there was a belt hanging from the top of roofs. Like, why else would there be ladders anyway? Oh, I'm going to hit you with this. Like, why would you take the time to set up a ladder as a weapon when you can grab a chair?
Because a C4 spike off the top of a ladder would be sick as hell. It'd be amazing if Bully Ray would take that bump.
Come on, chat. I mean, there's got to be people that are calling you crazy. Like, how many TLC matches are... Because that was always a joke when WWE did it. Like, when they had that Shield TLC match. It's like, no, you got to climb and grab something. It's not just fucking useless. Like, you got to reach up and grab grab that damn belt, Geno.
But you don't always have to grab the dang belt. You have to just use the table, the ladder, the chairs to incapacitate your opponent so they get pinned.
Dude, all of these matches that I'm looking at had the belt like dangling from the arena, or from the top. Abyss and Jeff Hardy were for the belt. Christian Cage and Abyss for the belt. This one would probably didn't. This six-person Full Metal Mayhem probably didn't. So it's probably like WWE. Not every time do you need something hanging from the top, but for the most part we do. But it's like the flag match with Rusev and Swagger. And the winner of this match will get to hold his flag in the center of the ring. Like, that's not what a flag match is. I want to play capture the flag, but wrestling. That's what a flag match is, Geno. TLC, the belts are hanging. Don't play dumb.
It could be either or, but my favorite flag match would be a 4 quarters match where you have to tap all 4 quarters and your flag drops down and you win.
That would be so fun, Geno. So I'm going with Josh Alexander. He's going to climb to the top and grab his belt.
Josh Alexander's going to get an amazing C4 spike off the top of the ladder and get the 1, 2, 3 on Bully Ray.
It's going to be do you think it's pinfall? Would you be mad if it was pinfall? It better be grab the belt.
It'll be exciting in the Atlanta Center Stage Theater seeing Josh Alexander get the big win over this old Bully Ray who had to disrespect the amazing Scott D'Amore of Team Canada by putting him through a table and killing his friendship.
Dude, that was nuts. And what's up with Tommy Dreamer? Is he going to get involved? There's always that possibility, too, because Bully had a beat.
Malachi Black says, remember when Impact was good?
Dude, like, you mean on Thursday? Yes, Impact is the best. I'm glad that Nathan is finally like... Nathan, this is the official Impact Wrestling podcast, by the way. I just want everyone to know that. Scott Demore tweets at me. He gets me unblocked from following them. Why was I blocked, Gino? What is that about?
I don't know. It must have been years ago, and thankfully everything's smoothed over. We're all good, and we all love Impact. We all support Impact. They support us. You got tweeted by Scott where you contacted him. I got emails from Impact letting me know the doors open 60 to 90 minutes before the pre-show at 7:30. So that's why I'm excited to go see.
Who are you excited to meet the most? Are you meeting Jessica Havoc? Are you going to ask her about her OnlyFans? Like, who in Impact are you just going to, like, freak out when you get to see him? And don't say Matt Cardona.
All right, I gotta say the person I'm gonna freak out the most to see face to face is gonna be Courtney Rush. Even though she's gonna be all in gimmick and be Rosemary, I'm gonna be excited to see the living legend Courtney Rush.
Aren't you gonna be really excited to? When you see Matt Cardona, are you gonna go? Do you remember me? I hope you do. That would be so fun, Gino. Pretend like, oh my gosh, Matt, you remember me, right? And then you could show him the picture of you guys.
And I could do something like that. But part of me also just like if I do see him again, I want this fucking shirt that I bought not too long ago, like another week ago, to come in because I'm still waiting for it because I bought the newest version of his old shirt because he re-released the first shirt he made, which was the whole "not there," which was reference to him no longer being there. He made a new one that's silver that I purchased because I wanted to support and be like, maybe this is him teased that he's not.
Oh, Gino.
Because he's not going to be there, and it's still not there, and that's why I was supposed to be like, see, I bought the new shirt because I support this motherfucker. He's the best. Love Matt Cardona's current run. He's the best independent wrestler.
This is his Hulk Hogan run. When he does something next, that'll be his Hollywood Hogan run. I love that he was like, yeah, what I just did, that was my Hulk Hogan run. This is my Hollywood. Like, no, you have to have a Hogan run first. You don't get to just job out on main event for years and then tell us this is my Hollywood run. This is me turning heel and really shaking the business up. So yeah, great point by Nathan Weller. Gino, you get this job and all you do is buy wrestling shirts. Do you pay any additional bills yet? Do you save for moving out? What's kind of your goal?
Well, currently this last paycheck, since I didn't really get as much like the paycheck before, I did send like to my family, to my mom, basically specifically because that's who I have in my contacts that I could actually send money to via Zelle through my bank app. It was $100 from last paycheck, so at least it was something, and try to help whatever I can to at least pay back. Because we had to spend, like, after the past few weeks of all these damages and repairs to our plumbing, had to spend about $12,000 this past 3 weeks.
You spent that?
The family has had. We've all had to spend like about $12,000 for repairs. So
you chipped in $100?
I was able to chip in $100 for this paycheck because I had very little left.
Doesn't your mom see you like wearing that shirt and go, "What the fuck?" Like, why don't you give me $135?
Well, that's it. That's what we're gonna see about next Friday. This coming Friday, however much money I'll have left from both saying to make sure I have this situated.
Thank you so much for the kayfabe spell. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Cassidy. But yes, however much I have left after making sure I have everything squared away for the next 2 weeks before I get paid, that 2 Fridays from this Friday, and then make sure I'm set up so I can then give what I can to the house as well.
Okay, good. You know, I'm just saying whatever you can give. I love that you're like, this is what, like, it's like a desperate moment. Like, how much do I have? I can give you this much. Like, that's like, I have to buy this, all this other shit. But once I'm done with that, I'll see what I can give you. Like, I love the hustle here, Gino. I'm surprised they haven't asked for more money. I just want to be honest. Like, I know if my son, who was your age, was like living at my place, I would look at his paycheck, take a percentage of that, and then go, boom, there you go, dude. Like, this is, hey, you live here for free. Here's what you owe. So, like, at least, because even Gino today, I just spent $90 on electricity. Can you believe that? $90?
That's what I could agree. Like, I most likely believe that that's what we have to spend because of both the modems, the Wi-Fi shit, to just keep that running, as well as my PS5, how much fucking electricity that takes up. So I'm sure it's like over $100.
Well, and then not only that, I got another email from the city that was like, "Hey, gas bill's due." So there's that one, and then water bill is also due. So those are both due. Those combined are like another $200.
Damn, that sucks that it all came together, but at least it's gonna be able to get paid because you are the hardest working man that I know.
Dude, I'm like so strapped for cash. I had to sell stocks, Gino. So shit wasn't going well. We had a Black Friday, okay? My wife's on maternity leave. So there was definitely a moment of like, we have no fucking money at this time. So, well, we're going to survive, Geno. We had to move some stocks. The market's down anyway, thanks to your president. Don't pretend like you don't know. You read the headlines. Let's ride off, Geno, into that glorious sunset. I'm so excited for you to go to Hard to Kill. You and I are going to recap your journey next week. I'm sure you'll talk about it as well with Kev Be Cool on Raw's 4th Hour this coming Monday night. So you have a fun time at Hard to Kill. I'll be watching probably on Friday, okay? Or on Saturday morning. I'll probably fire up Hard to Kill on the old Watch Wrestling. What do I go to now? WatchProWrestlingLive.org or some shit. It's some variation of that. I'm going to watch that, Geno. Any parting words before we ride off into that glorious sunset?
I just gotta say to all of you here, we're excited for this moment for Hard to Kill Friday night. It is gonna be on Impact Plus and Impact Ultimate Insider, so pay that little $5 or more and be able to watch this event like I am. But unlike live, you get to hear Tom Hannafin and Matthew Raywell call these amazing action.
Wait, the Hard to Kill is like $40.
Oh, it actually is one of their premium live events. It's not even their monthly shit. They don't have a monthly.
No, it's not a
January.
premium live event. It's a pay-per-view. It's actually it's like old school. It's like they have 4 pay-per-views a year. It's like $40, you know. It's like a million fight credits.
Then this is going to be Mickey James' last match. I thought this is going to be like one of their monthly events, but no, this is.
Now, Lockhigh Black says, Geno, we have bills. We can't be wasting $5.
Geno, you're going to one of their 4 pay-per-views of the year. Geno, we're wrestling journalists and we're massive fans of Impact Wrestling. You're supposed to know what their calendar looks like. Holy shit. When we have our board meeting next week, we're really going to have to iron you out.
I know. I do have to get ironed out. I need to remember what the 4 big pay-per-views are, but at least now I know it is a pay-per-view. This is Mickey James.
Hard to Kill, Rebellion, Slammiversary, Bound for Glory. It's been that way since like 2014, Geno.
I thought it was 2016 things changed. I thought like Hard to Kill was not one of their big 4, but now it is their big 4.
Yeah, they got rid of
AEW.
Yeah, they got rid of Genesis. Like Genesis was their January big one, and they moved on from that for some reason. They really like Hard to Kill because Hard to Kill was their new name when Scott D'Amore took it over because Impact was dead. It was supposed to die. Hard to Kill was after the Dixie era. We are so wrestling journalists. How did we even remember that, Geno? Let's ride off into the glorious sunset, and I will catch you all tomorrow night for the whole fucking show. I can't wait. It's going to be an awesome time, Geno. You know this song.